Hello everyone, and welcome to the other video on measuring Scope 3 emissions for food and drink sector. In this video, we will be covering the rest terms that are being used throughout the guidance. In the previous video, I have covered at least 4 terms. Those were very important to understand. And in this video, I will be covering the rest 4. There were a few more terms that I'm not considering for now, and I believe you are aware of them. Or if you are not, I will be explaining them while I'll explain how to calculate Scope 3 emissions. So the first term that is important to understand is CO2 equivalent. You might have heard this word earlier, CO2 equivalent. So what exactly the meaning of CO2 equivalent and how it is related to the carbon emissions? So when we say something equivalent, we just not considering the carbon emissions. Here, we are basically considering all the emissions that are coming during the process. That would be nitrate emissions, that would be kind of manganese or some other nutrient emissions, and that can be kind of phosphate emissions as well. So what you will be seeing, but in every impact assessment, you will see a list of impacts there and their conversion into carbon dioxide. So for example, if there are 7 different types of emissions during the process, so what we can do, we can convert them into the carbon, and then we can say like these emissions are not just carbon, but these are the carbon equivalent, the CO2 equivalent emissions. The other term, which is embodied emissions data. So what happened in the context of purchased good, this term basically refers to the convert activity data into GHG emissions. So for example, I have some amount of, maybe I can say 100 kilowatt hours of electricity, but what does that 100 kilowatt electricity means and how I'm going to read that value? So what will happen, I will have some kind of impact factor, and then I will multiply that factor by the activity data. And then I will get the embodied emissions of that particular unit. So embodied emissions is basically amount of GHG is emitted in the production of given quantity, and that quantity can be anything. So on the basis of data, what type of data we have, we can convert that particular data into a readable form, or I would say embodied emissions. Okay. The other term is basically greenhouse gas. So whenever we think about greenhouse gas, we mostly think about the carbon dioxide only. But there are a lot of other gases, and like those comes under the greenhouse gases, and they are basically methane, which is like more dangerous than the carbon dioxide, and nitrous oxide, hydrofluorocarbons, perfluorocarbons, and sulfur hexafluoride. So these are the 6 gases that comes under the greenhouse gases emissions. Another most important term, I would say, is land use change. So what exactly is land use change and how it impacts the, I would say, the final results or the carbon emissions, how it is very much related to the emissions. So what happens basically, let's take an example. We have some kind of land, and we are going to convert that land into like for farming or maybe to make our industry over that. So what will happen, that land would have some kind of carbon dioxide in their soil. So if there is some kind of soil inside the, or maybe if there is some kind of carbon dioxide inside the soil, so what will happen if we remove that soil over the land? So that carbon will go into the atmosphere, and that will basically cause the emissions. And if I would say like most of the impacts during farming or the production of particular product, most of the impacts sometimes comes from the land use changes. So when we convert that land into a arable land or crop land, or maybe some kind of, or we set some kind of industry over there, so the emissions comes through the soil, and that basically goes into the atmosphere and cause climate change. So these are the 4 basic terms that you will come across during the guidance. If you have any questions, just let me know.